So you can see I've got my board already cut, and I've attached 2 support pieces to it so far, one at each end. Now what I'm going to do is work out how long the other one has to be, so I'll mark that with pencil, probably a little long, and then keep trimming it down. Now you can see here, this one fits, far left fits exactly, pretty close anyway. There's a gap on this one, that's the one I cut first. Cut it too short. This board's like 8 feet for 98 cents, so it's not too bad. This one's too long, so I'll discard this one, and then I'll trim this one just a hair at a time. So I've got those pieces now fitting, and the next step will be to turn it over and to tack in little brads, and I'll show you that. Here I'm in the studio. I'm going to make this look like this one. To do that, I'm going to have to attach these from the other side. I'm going to use brads to do it, and I found out for this particular thickness of birch panel and wood that I have, that it actually comes through a little bit too far, so you can feel it. So what I have to do is to cut off about a 1/4 inch. Now I could go to a smaller brad, but in order to get one short enough, it would be too thin. It really wouldn't hold it on. Why am I actually putting these wood strips on? Because when I gesso it, like I have here, a gesso is going to cause that birch panel to curve. It also provides a place to hang them from, so you can have some sort of nail sticking out and resting on that. And if you look on the wall here, you'll see these are done precisely that way. Now if I get to bigger panels, I actually will turn my wood this way, because that'll keep the panel from curving so much. If it's this way and it's a big panel, the curvature of the panel when you're working on it will actually cause this to bend also, so you'll get warps. Okay, so I'm going to turn this over and do that part. Okay, now because I've cut off the tip of the one I've put in here, I've used this and poked it down with the hammer a little bit and then pulled it back out to provide a starting place, because I want to cut off it's going to be blunt. Now this part has to be pushed in with a nail set. So I'll do all the rest of it along this edge, then I'll use my nail set, then I'll come back. Now you can see where the original brad is a little longer than the shortened one, and there's the pieces that are cut off. I've gone ahead and used my nail set and pushed these in. Now the top of the nail is really smooth, so it'll jump off that, particularly if it's above it. So sometimes you can just use your hammer and drive it down, you'll be able to knock it in. Other times it's going to pop off, and you'll see here that I've got like an extra divot next to it. That'll be filled in, no problem. Really troublesome ones, what I end up doing is I'll put this pair of pliers down like so, and then I'll hit the end of it with a hammer, and that'll drive it down flat or a little below the surface, and then I can take my nail set and finish the job if I need to. So next thing will be to use my wood putty, and I just use a small putty knife to use it to do it. Put it on. I'll use an example here, and that's about it. You know, I've wasted a little, but you'll see that this is not perfectly flat. I actually want it above a little, because when it dries it'll shrink into the hole, and this stuff is really easily sandable. So once it's dried thoroughly, and a lot of times I'll leave it rest overnight, take some sandpaper, usually on something flat like this, give it a good rub. Once everything's done, what I might end up doing is checking the side here, making sure there's no big gaps. You can see I've got a little bit of a gap here. This doesn't feel bad. By bad I mean not one end or the other sticks up. So I've got a gap here. So I may just fill that with wood filler. I think that's where the edge of the board is just rounded over a little. And if I feel a little bit coming up, like this comes up, you can just use a small plane and plane this all down till it's flat. After that's done, then I'll use my gesso. And the purpose of the gesso is so that the oil actually sticks to the painting. The gesso sticks to the wood. If you paint with acrylic, the acrylic sticks to the gesso. Just use oil. It has a tendency for canvas to seep through. On birch, I'm not sure what will happen, but I'm guessing what will happen is probably it'll flake off. It'll probably soak in some because it's an oil. You know, that's how a lot of stains are based with oil. Anyway, good luck doing whatever you want to do. And one further thing is, if you don't want to paint on this, you can simply take wood glue, spread it around. I would take a brush, and then you can put canvas on here and stretch it out. You can stretch it out regularly and staple the back, or you can cut along the edges and just have it on the front. Some people on the sides of these, whether it's a painting on canvas or a painting on wood panel like I'm doing, we'll leave this as wood colored. Some will paint white, some black, so we have a lot of choices. If you look here, you don't see anything coming through except here and here. And that's before I discovered they were too long, so I'll have to drive those back through, take them out, cut them off, and reseat them.